Hey everyone, what's going on? Oh my goodness, I have so much to talk about. I miss you guys. I haven't been on what I should say. I haven't been on Spreaker with my podcast for a very long time, and I even forgot how to introduce myself because a lot of people like it because they say it's so organic. It's my true thoughts and I just let it flow. It's not a script. I don't practice. I don't rehearse it. I just let it flow. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was knowing when to not keep some people in your life. And the reason why I say that is because there are some people, their time expired. It's not that they're a horrible person. It is not that, it's just not healthy to keep them around in your life, especially if you're in the process of growing or developing with someone. And they have some exes that we come across in our lives. I mean, thankfully, I didn't have to deal with that. But I've seen people who had to deal with it. It's not a good thing, especially if you want to move forward. And then they're wondering why they can't be in healthy relationships because you have certain individuals that you keep around. And a lot of people will probably disagree. They're like, no, that's not true. Yes, that's true. Yes, it's true. I believe that if you're in a relationship, the main people that should actually still, you be in communication with is, of course, if you have an ex-wife or ex-husband and you have children with them and the children are living with them, then there's a need to keep in communication. Or if the kids are not living with them, of course you got to, allow the kids to speak to the other parents and, of course, keep updated on the events of what's going on in that child's life and the child's needs, etc. But other than that, if you had past relationships and people want to keep in touch with you, communication have to be with boundaries. You understand? You can't keep feeding into people's feelings, making them feel like, one day there will still be part of their life, or, encouraging a certain behavior that even though you may do it innocently, they may not see it that way. And it was something I was explaining to some of my guy friends. Like, guys, their feelings are different from women, and some women don't understand that. They feel like if they feel this certain type of way, the guy also feels that way. That's not the case. They have some genuinely good guys out there that actually care about people's well-being. It doesn't mean they care about you to the point where they want to be with you, but they care about your well-being. And women will misconstrue that, but like, oh yeah, he still love. Yeah, let me get this wrong. We meet people and we genuinely love and care for them. But that love and caring does not mean you want to be and grow with that individual. It does not mean that. And people will misconstrue that. And the people who misunderstand, when you're not on the same level of understanding with an individual, it gets messy. It gets very, very messy because there's lack of respect for your current situation. There's lack of respect for where you're trying to head. And it distracts you from your actual goals and values and morals, or whatever the case you want to put it. So sometimes some people will be bad for your journey and their time has expired. It doesn't mean that you want to be a bad person to them. It means that until they can understand and be on that same level of understanding, that relationship have to be on a only as needed type of communication. And basically, you just have to be very careful because, like I said, if it's a two-way stream, right? There's a give of the information, there's a receiver, and vice versa. And if you're giving an information and the receiver is not receiving it appropriately, it causes problems, right? Because you're trying to give this one information, the receiver sees this as something totally different, And then you end up being the bad guy because you're not giving them what they thought they were receiving. Right? It's like a huge miscommunication, and that's the biggest problem is in human relationship, miscommunication. And that's why I say people's time, they have an expiration date. For me, and what I do with my friends, I set boundaries. And if my friends go beyond these boundaries, I have to set them in place. I have to set them right. And I tell them straight up, like, you cross that particular boundary. And, in order for us to keep communicating, you have to respect those boundaries. Because if you don't, you're going to distract me from my path. You're going to distract me from, where I'm headed. And then it's going to create unnecessary problems that I know definitely I am not willing to deal with. Because let's face it, there are women who believe that they can act just like men. Guess what? I am not one of those women. Because a woman cannot act just like a man and get away with it. Men can. Women can't. You know what I mean? So I can't go around thinking, yeah, I could behave just like a man and do all the things these men do who feel like they could just run around. And no, that's not... And that's not how life should be. Whether you're a man or woman, I feel like we need to respect each other, respect each other's relationships, respect each other boundaries, and so forth. We have to. Some people might disagree with what I'm saying, but I stand firm by that because I have seen it firsthand, where you have so many people involved in your relationship. Of course it's going to fall apart because you got so many hands in the pot. You got so many hands in the pot, and then you expect to have something solid? No. What does that mean? What does it stand for? For me, I like to be involved in something that stands for something, not stands for nothing. And stand for nothing meaning you're all over the place. The messages that you send are so confusing. And if you're sending confusing messages, then you're definitely not ready to be in that type of relationship. Unless both people are just really confused, then that's different. If you would like that type of setup, that's you. But, it's just best to know exactly what you want and know exactly who need an expiration date in your life. Because some of these people will just keep dragging you and dragging you and dragging you along. And before you know it, you're 50, you're 60 years old doing the same old thing, getting nowhere. You understand? You're supposed to grow, not be stagnant. Supposed to grow. And it's crazy. It's the same old thing. And I'm like, wow. It's just interesting to see, the mental, state of some people and how they communicate with each other. Like, I honestly could just read something from somebody or just listen to the way they speak to know exactly their intention or where they're going with certain things. And based off of that, you can't change my mind because you cannot hide certain things. You cannot hide certain things at all. And one of the biggest red flags in anything is when people are not transparent about a situation. If you're not transparent about a situation and you're hiding information or you're sneaking around and going around back doors just to get certain things done, then these are relationships you shouldn't like. Why go to that extent? If you can't be straight up and forward with it, why go to that extent? I don't know. Some people like the headache. To me, that's too much headache. If I have to go through all of that, I don't want to deal with it. If you have to go through all of that, just be by yourself. Be by yourself. Then you don't have to put expiration date on anybody. You don't. But once you're in a serious relationship, for example, a marriage relationship, they have certain sacrifices you have to make in order to keep watering your foundation so you can grow stronger and stronger and stronger. Because the more people that you have that are not influencing it for the good, okay, that are influencing it for their own selfish needs or their own selfish wants, it will always create problems, whether you like it or not. And it has nothing to do with control. It has nothing to do with control. At the end of the day, it's called respect and principle. And I know a lot of principled people, when it comes to the actual doing what they're supposed to do, they like those principles themselves, because then it becomes because the moment you start thinking about me and I when you're in a relationship or a marriage that involves two people, then it's selfish, because you're thinking about I. How would your behavior affect that other individual? Then that's not selfish anymore when you start thinking that. If I do that, what will that cause? Or if I do this, what will this cause? Because once you start thinking that way, you're no longer selfish. You're actually being compassionate, considerate, understanding, and of course, morality, right, goes a long way, and you have integrity and all this kind of stuff that goes along with it. And I don't understand why is it so difficult for some people to. Honestly, have I always thought this way? No, I didn't think this way, because I was younger. But as I got older and I observed human relationships, and I have seen the destruction of how selfish behaviors can affect relationships, whether it be friendship, whether it be parent-child, whether it be, once you start thinking of you yourself, just this I, me, I, this, the relationships around you will be destroyed, because you're not thinking about others. If more of us think about others more than ourselves, this world will be a better place, but it's not. It's not. And that's why they have people who have to enforce the good. You enforce what you believe is right. Okay? And you don't fall for it. But everybody else falls for the nonsense. So it's easier to have more nonsense than actually genuine, responsible people around. I guess that's what it is. It's just easier to do nonsense than actually follow principles. I'm just saying, because it's fun, right? Who cares? Who cares about principles and respect? But I do. I still do. And I think I still will, regardless of how or where life takes me. I still will. And I'll stand by that. That's not going to change. My standards will not change. It's either you are going to follow it, fall in line with it, or, go to somebody else who have low standards when it comes to certain things. But you weed out certain individuals out of your life. You weed them out based on your standards. And if you don't have those standards, then you can't complain about the individuals you let in and the problems that arise because of the individuals you let into your life. Because you have full control of that. And it's all up to you at the end of the day. So think about it. Where are your standards? Who are you allowing into your life? Who reached the expiration date ages ago and you did not allow them to expire? And you kept it going. And what problems did you actually have because of that? These are things to think about. And we don't think about it every single day. Because if you really, really think about, hey, I had this problem, but then let's do a root cause analysis of what actually caused the problem. I guarantee you'll be like, crap, dang, that wouldn't have happened had I really, really thought about it. And then if things have happened, how are you going to change the future? What are you going to do different? And these are the questions you need to start asking yourself. Anyways, it's time for me to go to work, and my time is almost up. I did less than 20 minutes, yay. But let me know your thoughts, and then leave a comment and we can talk about this further.